Chrono Odyssey was my most anticipated MMORPG to release this year. I've been covering this game since the initial reveal trailers years ago, and you would expect my excitement being able to be part of this closed beta, and today I just kind of wanted to sit here and kind of give you my unfiltered thoughts on Chrono Odyssey's closed beta test. Now, leading up to this test, I've been hearing a lot about Chrono Odyssey. I've been covering it on the channel, especially with all the hype around it, with like pushing Unreal Engine 5 to its maximum limits, to being the next big MMORPG to help save the genre. But my recent hands-on experience with this closed beta test has left me, let's just say, a little bit less impressed, right? And honestly, that's kind of putting it mildly. I went into this beta with a lot of anticipation, hoping for the next big thing in the MMO genre, but what I got was kind of a bit of a reality check, right? So let's just jump right into it, right? I just want to talk about why this closed beta opened my eyes to about what this game could be, and the signs were there, but Jesus Christ. So I'm generally concerned that Chrono Odyssey could really stumble at launch, right? My biggest takeaway, and something that immediately hit me during my gameplay experience with the closed beta test, is that particularly the combat, right? So my character that I made was a swordsman, and like you could play 3 of the 6 classes, but the actual feel of the combat itself was just not good. I'm gonna just be honest, it was not good. And I'm gonna just be even more completely honest, the combat is dog shit, right? Let's just put it out there. It is absolute dog water, right? Now, essentially, this is your standard action MMO. And one thing that I noticed during my time playing was that you could actually swap weapons like mid-fight, like in the middle of combat, you can swap. Now that sounds cool on paper, but in practice, it feels incredibly sluggish. My character's animations were just slow. I was moving like through like molasses, and the lag, man, don't even get me started on the lag. I've played a ton of playtests in my time, and it is a beta. That is 100% fine. But this is not a good look at all for Chrono Odyssey. It just feels very unoptimized. It's like the game is just fighting against itself. You want to execute these fluid combos, but the game just doesn't respond in a way that feels satisfying, right? And that's a huge problem for an action MMO, where combat is arguably the core pillar of the entire experience, right? And if that isn't clicking, everything else is going to start to unravel. And even with the weapons mastery system, where you're using the weapon to improve its skill tree, which, don't get me wrong, it's a nice touch, mind you. If the fundamental act of using that weapon just feels bad, so then what's the point, right? You can only equip 2 out of the 3 available weapons in the beta, so you're encouraged to find your favorite playstyle, but none of them feel good. It's just like, it feels like I'm playing a rinse and repeat of like MMOs. Like the whole point of Chrono Odyssey was supposed to be that next gen, that next game, right? And it's not going to hold well when you got games like Throne of Liberty or New World who are doing something very similar or better than what you are doing. So it feels very just rinse and repeat, mediocre at best, and it just doesn't feel good. It's a tough sell to get somebody into this game if it doesn't even look remotely close to what they showcased to us years ago with its official gameplay reveal trailer, right? Now, speaking about gameplay, another mechanic that I want to talk about during the demo that is the main point of the story is called the Chrono Detector, right? Now, this tool, which was made by the god of time Chronos, the tool for winning time itself. It is used as a narrative device and a gameplay device, which sounds awesome, but how much did you really feel its impact in the moment-to-moment gameplay during the beta? Was it truly innovative, or did it feel very like a tacked-on gimmick amidst the overall combat issues? Now, honestly, throughout the time of me playing, it felt a bit underdeveloped in the beta. The concept is fantastic. I was still back what I said in my previous videos. I enjoyed that entire concept of time and all that good stuff. But my biggest question that I asked in my previous videos is, what would make this unique? What would make this feel like, how can we change this overall? But I feel like that in itself was overshadowed by just technical problems. It's hard to appreciate a cool time loading mechanic when the game itself is running behind time. The frames are dropping, your character's moving like they're in slow motion. It just needs to be seamlessly integrated, and right now it just feels more like just a cool feature than a core polished gameplay element. And speaking of things that don't feel polished, let's move on to the crafting system. Now, this one is a small complaint comparable to the other big glaring issues, but I do not like the crafting system. Now, don't get me wrong, it's been a minute since I've touched a lot of the newer MMOs. I haven't played New World in a minute. I know they changed a lot. Throne of Liberty, I know they changed a lot, but I don't know. Me personally, I'm just not a big fan of upgrading my gear through an RNG system. So just to kind of give you an idea of what that means is, when you're in the crafting system, you can upgrade your weapon, but the thing is that upgraded weapon has a number from a low to a high score. Now, me personally, if you were to ask me, I'm very traditionalist when it comes to a crafting system. It's just upgrade the goddamn gear, right? Just give me one clear progression path, a way to upgrade my gear to the next rarity, and that's it. We do not need an RNG score system for crafting. Honestly, in my opinion, it just feels very frustrating. It adds an unnecessary layer of randomness to something that should feel like a satisfying progression loop, right? It's like gambling with your resources, and in an MMO, that can quickly lead to just player burnout. Now, like I said, that is a overall minor thing. It feels like it's designed to prolong the grind rather than providing a rewarding crafting experience, and that's honestly a dangerous path for a lot of MMOs, especially ones that's trying to make a big splash in the genre. But like I said, that was just something small, a slight irritation I saw. Is just a little bit of a tidbit. But let's pivot a little bit, because one of the biggest selling points and one of the things that is a big glaring issue when it comes to this closed beta, and the thing that really brought eyes onto this product, is the visuals. The point of this MMO was to push Unreal Engine 5 to the absolute max that it can. This is supposed to be the most complete MMO that can handle Unreal Engine 5 to the max. Now, on paper, it sounds stunning, and it did look good when we were first being shown this. And of course, this feels a little bit like false advertisement, because there was the gameplay reveal trailer that showcased in gameplay, and I'm putting quotes around this, in gameplay reveal trailer, because I'm like, this is not what you guys showed us at all back when you first showed us. And no, this wasn't just some cinematic trailer. It was actual in-game reveal trailer. So I'm like, what the hell happened from then to what the hell is on my current screen right now? Now, in some of the cutscenes when you start off in the beta, you can see the potential, right? They look fantastic. It truly has the potential to be one of the most visually impressive MMOs, alongside games very similar to like Thrones of Liberty and New World. But the kicker, or the caveat in this case, those visuals just do not translate into actual gameplay experience, right? When it came to leading up to the hype of this game, the marketing shots and the pre-rendered cinematics just looked incredible. But when you're actually in the game world playing, that's where the performance issues start to rear their ugly head. And when I was playing this, I jotted down in my notes, but the one thing that I can say is that the biggest problem, the performance is not good at all. And that's not even an understatement. We're talking about constant stuttering, constant frame drops. It's a constant fight to maintain any kind of smooth frame rate. The beautiful Unreal Engine 5 visuals, they get completely undermined by the poor performance. Even the cutscenes, which are supposed to be visual showpieces, suffer from these issues. And it's a very jarring experience, right? It really literally feels like a whole different game versus the actual gameplay reveal trailer that was showcased to us. And I also noted issues when I was playing. I'm like, dude, the walking and the running feels so stiff. They feel very like stock UE5 visuals. Like, they don't feel natural. It just feels so weird, which loops me back to my earlier point about combat feeling bad. Even if basic movement feels clunky and unpolished, it further detracts from the immersion overall experience. Bad animations contribute to that feeling of sluggishness in combat. Then you have these weird visual glitches. The lighting in the world constantly keeps flickering and changing, and this strange visual shade is over my game screen. That just looks off, man. It's like the game is just visually fighting itself. So when you put it all together, the sluggish, unoptimized combat, the frustrating crafting, like I said, small minor point, but these severe performance issues that actually undermine the game's biggest selling point, the visuals, it paints a very concerning picture for Chrono Odyssey. Because not even just the visuals being bad, it's just the animations is horrible, the combat does not feel good. And look, I get it, it's a beta, And we always have to give games the benefit of a doubt during this phase. Alphas and betas, we have to give a benefit of a doubt. But I will only give it a benefit of the doubt if it was just minor bugs or balance tweaks. These are actual fundamental issues with the core gameplay in itself and the performance that just paints a much deeper problem for an MMO. The launch is absolutely critical. You need to hook players day one, provide a stable and enjoyable experience, and build a strong community. Because if Chrono Odyssey were to launch, let's say today, for an example, with these issues, it's going to struggle retaining players, man. Think about all the other big MMO launches that have stumbled due to their similar problems. Their player base is incredibly discerning now. You really got to take that into effect. Like, you need this game to hit the gates running, and this is what you have to show me. Oh man, they always say first impressions matter a lot. If players were to jump in, like I said, today, let's just say today was the official launch, and this is what you experience: the clunky combat, the overall, the way the game looks, the feel of the movement, the animation, the lighting, getting kicked from the servers. There's just too much competition right now that is doing it better. And it's a shame, because the concept of Chrono Odyssey is genuinely exciting. The idea of wielding time, a massive world, the high-end visuals, it all sounds fantastic. It has the ingredients for something special. But if the foundation elements are not solid, that potential just completely poof, gone. It evaporates. It's almost like they prioritize pushing the visual fidelity without ensuring the underlying game's engine and systems could actually support it. And that just might be a very real possibility. It feels like they invested so much into making it look cutting edge, but have not put the same level of polish into the actual player experience. I played it for what, an hour or two, and I'm like, this just does not feel like something that should have been hyped the way it was. And in an MMO, the experience is everything, right? You're going to be spending hundreds, if not thousands of hours in this world. If those hours are spent fighting against the game's mechanics and performance, it's not going to be a good time. So my overall verdict here, based purely on this closed beta, is the game doomed, or is there a glimmer of hope? Now, I will say this though, doomed is a strong word. Anybody who is familiar with the Chaos DTV channel, I like to play devil's advocate. I like to look at both ends. I try not to be too critical, but I also like to give benefit of the doubt. But in this case, this is not it, Chief. I have very serious concerns. There are absolute massive fundamental changes that need to be made right now, between now and launch. And honestly, if not, this game may get delayed. I have heavy feeling this might get delayed. The animation needs to be better. The performance needs to be better. This game barely runs. That's the other issue. It barely can run. And that's fine. Like I said, it's a beta, but it's like we're this close to launch. This is finally giving people a taste into what the game has to offer. And this is absolutely atrocious. Their optimization needs to be passed through. We need to rethink certain systems that need to go here. I just foresee a very rough launch for Chrono Odyssey if it were to release within the next month or two. It's like we're already into almost the third quarter of the year, and we got our closed beta. The game releases this year, and this is what we have to offer. It's going to fail to capture the long-term attention of players if these issues continue happening. The sheer amount of work that is required to fix these problems definitely does seem daunting for a game that's, like I said, it's aiming for release literally within the next few months. And it feels like it's a long way off from delivering a polished, enjoyable MMORPG experience. The beta, instead of building hype, has unfortunately just highlighted a lot of red flags with Chrono Odyssey. So for now, while we're still in a tiny bit of hope for a miraculous turnaround, which, as of my current assessment based on this beta, I feel like it's not going to. It's a disappointment and a heavy concern for me as a good fan of MMOs. This is not the MMO experience I was absolutely hoping for. But let me know your thoughts in a closed beta test for Chrono Odyssey. If you were able to play the test, just let me know. What did you think? If you've been watching people play it and you're like, what are your overall thoughts? I would love to hear your thoughts. If you want to talk about it in my Discord, I'll have it in the link below. But hey, if you want to see another failure in the gaming industry, then I recommend checking out this how an indie studio scammed its audience of $300,000. Other than that, it'll be in the top right hand corner in the card below. Stay safe out there, and it's been your host, Chaos DTV, signing out. Peace.